Hey everyone, this is Nic LaRue from FilmSnobbery, and I'm here in Oxford Film Festival in Oxford, Mississippi, and I am here today with...
Hi, my name is Suzannah Herbert. I'm the director of a documentary called WRESTLE.
All right, WRESTLE. What are we talking about? What is this movie all about?
Well, WRESTLE is about a high school wrestling team at a failing school in Huntsville, Alabama, and we follow 4 young wrestlers on their road to the state championships in their final season. But it's really about growing up when the world is pushing you down. And we explore lots of issues surrounding that.
I was going to ask, where there's a lot of stories out there to be told. What attracted you to this story in this particular town as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm actually from Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm based in New York, but I was keeping my ears and eyes open for Southern stories because I feel that's where my heart is and what attracts me to, in life. And I just want to tell those stories and meet people in the South and get those stories out there. So I heard about the wrestling team through a friend, and they had been getting, some local attention because they were a new team and they had only been wrestling for 2 or 3 years. They had just learned the sport, yet they were beating teams that were really well funded and had been wrestling their whole lives. So that inherently, in and of itself, was really interesting, and I thought that was a great story to tell, but I wanted to explore broader issues, and I thought the wrestling team was a great lens in which to do that.
Was there ever a time where, when you first started, you went down there, probably met the team and all that, where you went, okay, this was a mistake, or was it immediately like, you know what, I think I'm on to something here?
Yeah. So I went down for a summer training camp in 2015, and they were in this really intense camp. They were crawling through the sand in the Alabama heat. They were going up hills, carrying kids on their backs. It was crazy. So that was interesting. But then when I started talking to the Johnson wrestlers, they were just bursting to tell me their stories and for someone to listen to them, and they were fighting so hard on the mat, but also in life, and they really wanted to be seen, and which who can blame them? And it was beautiful seeing that and witnessing that both through the sport and in life. So yeah, it was immediately, I was like, wow, this is gonna be really interesting and an important story to document.
Was there ever a time as you were starting your process where, obviously as a lady, looking at men's sports, where the people, let's say in charge of coaches, stuff like that, were like, oh, a woman wants to interview my people and all that? Was there trepidation at all about letting someone get that close to their people to, while they're in the middle of training, while they're in the middle of doing something, because there could be a distraction factor? Or did they view you, as they rightfully should, as this is a filmmaker trying to do her job?
That's a wonderful question that I feel we don't get asked enough, because I think it's a very interesting lens that I had as a woman, and my co-director Lauren Belfer, who's unfortunately not here, but that we were really conscious of. So it was complicated, the in terms of storytelling, but also it was also natural because the team really respected us. And the coaches, they had such respect. It was also, I was kind of like their big sister, and then our cinematographer, Sinisha Kuchit, was a man, and he was a good balance. So when they were, it was more male oriented, he would go into the changing room, and obviously I would not do that. Or, well, we wouldn't film them changing, but you know what I mean, the locker room, You
got to have the locker room scene where they're talking about the game or the match or whatever, So, it's part of their lifestyle, so you have to show those things. But yes, I can see how there could be not trouble, but again, trepidation, trying to allow you that level of access to,
But by the end of it, it was all natural and fine. We lived in Alabama, so we were there every day for every practice, every tournament, every hangout. We were very embedded. But also, in the process of editing, as women filmmakers, I think that we brought a really unique perspective to the sport, maybe one that a male wouldn't bring, in terms of, our society and how masculinity is portrayed in film and just like in life. We allowed the young wrestlers to be more in touch with their emotions, I guess, or like they were totally willing to be vulnerable and open with us, and I hope and I think we brought that lens to the story. So I think it was a really
like you kind of became a safe space in a way for them to openly talk about things. Did the school at all ever get involved and say like, okay, well, when this is done, before you release it or get out there on the circuit or whatever, say like, we kind of want to see it first, or was that part of kind of the deal?
No, that wasn't part of the deal. They were great in allowing us access, and we talked to them about it all before, of course. And we're actually premiering in Huntsville in a couple, in the next couple of months. So we're very excited to share it with the community there.
Do you have any expectations of how your audience will perceive it? And are you looking forward to seeing how the audience responds?
Well, yes, we've had a really great festival run. We premiered in San Francisco in April, and we've been doing the festival circuit since then, and we've won a bunch of awards. So it's been the audience, we've won a couple, I think 3 audience awards for Best Documentary Feature. So it's been very humbling to experience the film with audiences across the country. And all the wrestlers and the team and their families have all seen the film multiple times. And the first time they saw it was at the premiere. And that was truly the best part of it all, because they were so moved and so proud. And that was the best part.
That's great. I mean, and congratulations, by the way. Thank you. I guess my next question is, because you've been able to screen throughout the country, have you found that audiences in different regions, conservative versus more liberal, or people with different viewpoints, which there are many in this country, have you found that they react differently to some of the material, especially when you get to some of the more vulnerable moments with the men, especially things, wrestling is kind of up there with like boxing and considered like, that's a man's sport, so to speak, even though like UFC and has many women very like they will kick my ass, people. So so I mean, do you see in your audience at all like do you see anyone pull away a little bit, even based on where you're screening?
Yeah, it ranged. I think in the Midwest, we a couple times, or just like in more white audiences, we've gotten questions at the end that ask us if so 2 of our characters in the film, 2 of the wrestlers, at separate times get stopped by the police, and for really very minor, like racial profiling reasons. And we were there to capture it all, and multiple times people in the audience have asked if they don't even ask, they're like, since those were reenacted, like how did you reenact those? And we're just like, no, this is reality. This is the reality that so many African Americans in our country live with daily. Like they are confronted with this, terrorized by this, and we were just there to capture it and put it on screen. So that was really shocking to me, that people, it's not coming out of any ill will. It's just not being aware that,
Did you have any preconceived notions going in about the wrestlers, the guys in general, that you were like, I'm going to have to deal with this? I know how sometimes women look at men and go like, I'm going to have to deal with this. He's going to be in my face for something, and I'm going to have to like deal with him in my personal space and blah blah blah. Did you have any preconceived notions that when after you've gone through the process, you're like, you know what, it's that wasn't that bad, or I didn't expect that they would react this way to my line of questioning or to, being part of this process?
No, I didn't have any. Are you talking about the wrestlers?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they were amazing. I mean, yeah, no. They were all they're just, they were young teenagers. We were friends, I don't know, no. It was great.
Good.
Sometimes they wouldn't want us to film, or they'd be like, oh, I just want to play video games. And we'd be like, okay, let's just hang out and play video games. Yeah. There were times like that. They were just being...
Hand me player 2.
Yeah, exactly. So there was, in all parts and everywhere in the world, there's misogyny. And I did feel it more like from adults.
Interesting. Yeah, so is there anything that you really took away from this experience as a whole, through the filming, through even the promoting it on the festival circuit, that makes you want to obviously do it again, or like, next time I do this, I'm going to do this instead?
Well, those are all great questions. Let me think. So I definitely want to make another film. It is, a very intense process, especially documentary filmmaking, when you're involved in people's lives and you're following multiple storylines and you don't know what's going to happen. And I think that one of the main things I've learned is to trust the process. I was pretty anxious throughout the whole filming, because of course you don't know what's going to happen. We knew that there was wrestling tournaments and the state championships, but I didn't know if things would happen or be interesting. And of course it was all interesting. We had 650 hours and of footage, and we could probably tell, or I don't know, it was just I should have been more trustworthy of myself and the story, and not been so not been
kind of almost second guessing certain.
Yeah, I'm not going to second guess myself next film.
No, that's good. Now, with all of that footage that you had, was it a challenge to craft the story from that much footage, or was it ever overwhelming?
It was overwhelming, for sure. And it took us, 2 years to edit off and on. We took a lot of breaks to, work other jobs and make money and everything. But it was a process. Of course, we knew our 4 main characters that we were going to concentrate on, and the coach and their families and the team as a whole. But yeah, it was overwhelming. We watched everything. We marked everything up, logged everything. We went back through it all.
It's a process. Absolutely. No. Do you have an interest in doing something next that is not a documentary, maybe a narrative feature or, anything like that?
I mean, I have interest in that, and maybe down the line, but my passion is really in documentary filmmaking. I would never, close myself off to narrative or TV, but documentary is where my heart is.
That's great. No, let's talk real quick about the festival circuit, specifically Oxford. What made you feel that this was a festival you wanted to submit to that was worth the entry fee, and that you were like, I'm glad to be screening here, I hope?
Yeah. Well, I am from Memphis, so I wanted, of course, when I saw Oxford and heard about it, that it was a great indie film festival, I was like, oh, I would love to screen there. I've actually never been to Oxford. This is my first time here. Very much looking forward to going to the Square. And I just want to, show WRESTLE in as many southern towns and cities as possible, because I think it's really important for people to see their stories reflected on the big screen. So that was the reason I chose Oxford. Yeah, and they chose us. I'm so thankful.
So, where can people go online to find more information about WRESTLE and yourself?
Okay. Yeah, we have a website called WRESTLEFilm.com, and our Instagram and Facebook is also WRESTLEFilm. And we're actually going to be in theaters in a couple weeks. In New York, our premiere is February 22nd, And then LA, it's the following weekend, March 1st. And then we're spreading out to other cities across the country. And yeah, we're very excited about our theatrical premiere, getting it to wider audiences, of course. And then, and then it will be on PBS on May 20th nationwide.
Congratulations on all of that. I mean, that's fantastic, and hopefully, I'm actually looking forward to seeing that on PBS, because that'll be...
You should see it tonight.
I should see it tonight?
Yeah, please, 9 p.m. I think you would like it.
I hope so. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and chat, and for doing what you're doing. I think, representation in all of the arts is important, and it's great to see. I've seen a lot of filmmakers in general, but female filmmakers here at the festival as well, and it's great to see y'all here, as it were. So thanks a bunch, and everyone go see WRESTLE.